Welcome to the Blue Collar Songwriting Podcast with your host, Stovepipe Stover. Today, we interview Mark Lavengood. We're in Mark Lavengood's apartment. We're in his impeccably organized studio with whiteboards and everything. So thanks for joining us.
Heck yeah, thanks for having me, man.
He's standing. I'm going to stand too. I sit down enough as it is.
Right.
So the first question I have is, what is the key to your joy? And I'll tell you what. I've mentioned this to 3 or 4 people, and they said he's such a happy guy. I wish I could be that happy. So you've set a bar. What's your key?
Oh wow. Heavy introspection, knowing what I want, knowing what I don't want, and actively pursuing it, in my daily life, but, also like trying to like exude positivity, in this day and age, there's too much negative out there, and, you got to have empathy and compassion to combat that, to process it, really to, get to the core of what's going on. And when you go introspective, you get the opportunity to figure that out. Listening to a lot of Seth Bernard albums, that's definitely key as well.
And I didn't know if you make sure you stand up more than sit down. That seems like good practical advice to stay energetic and
absolutely, man, for sure. I've recently been seeing a chiropractor.
Okay.
I have actually recently stopped, but back in April I started for a couple months. I was going regularly in between tours, and then the dude ended up moving his space back to Holland, and I haven't found another person to go to yet. But just the enlightenment that I got, when I went in there in the first place, they did a full thorough scan of, my systems, and I found out I was putting 10 more pounds heavier on my left side, which I thought I was holding myself, properly and posture wise. And, I was popping my chest out and up, and I was thinking that was good for my spine. But, in reality, you want to have like the turtle back, bringing everything to your core and engaging that, to be, to like sustain your spine, which is, holds the head on the top. Which goes on to the whole skeletal system, to either make it better or worsen it, just like went to see a chiropractor, and he was like, well, you got to work on these areas of your body, and so I just started, I was like, oh yeah, I do need to walk every day. I do need to stretch and take the time, and it's not going to happen overnight or even in a week or a month, this is a life journey. So, it's like, you get to exercise discipline and doing the things every day, or at least trying,
building habits.
Yeah, man. And standing, that's one of the first things. He's like, yeah, man, try not to sit. And I was like, well, shucks, because I'm freaking driving 6 hours a day when I'm on tour, that's hard. But when I'm home, I was finding I would sit down at my, desk space when I'm doing the business work, and I would spend 2 to 5 hours a day, when I'm home doing that. And I just stopped doing that. And, as you can see here in my recording space, I set up my system so I can just stand.
You can stand.
And work. And so I rarely sit except for at night when I'm clocking out and, and Netflixing it up.
Yeah. You need that. I'm just picturing you standing like, all right, time for bed. And they just drop a blanket on top of your head.
Yeah, right.
So now we'll definitely get to the music. But truth be told, I feel like I can't separate your happy persona from joyful, I think is a better, joyful persona from your music itself. I mean, is there anything that does bum you out?
Oh man, I get bummed.
Yeah.
People sometimes ask me, "Are you ever not happy?"
Yeah.
And of course, there's moments when
Yeah.
I'm not, at my game, or on top of it, or even feeling down. But I don't look at those moments as being like sorrowful or feeling bad. I look at it as like a reflection of where I'm at. And just again an opportunity to process what is making me feel that way.
Right.
Make me reflect on it. It gives me an opportunity to see what I'm doing in my life, to how that applies to those feelings, and emotions. Sometimes it's things that are completely out of my control.
Right.
Let's look at the atrocities that are happening across the world with freaking global famine or homelessness or the wars, the profiteering, the warmongering. You could go on and on, and you could illuminate that energy. And I feel like everything I'm doing in my life is working toward a solution, something that is better than what I see as what a lot of people see as being troublesome and
right.
the core issues of what's going on.
Right.
But yeah, for sure. Sometimes I get down, but then I just get myself right back up as quick as possible.
Yeah. Cheers.
For sure. Totally.
So with that as background, what is it about music that's brought you so much joy? And dig as far back into your autobiography as you need to.
Wow. Well, growing up as a kid, music's everywhere, of course. It's in the trees, it's on the radio, it's in TVs, it's on the, on the streets. It's everywhere. And so we all associate, those songs from our childhood, and they still hold the nostalgic elements. And growing up, my pops was a rock and roller, and so he was shredding for sure.
He bands and everything.
He played in a few bands, and then he stopped playing. By not completely, but like by and large around the house. He wasn't like shredding anymore, and so it wasn't as much of a presence for a certain chunk of my time there growing up. I did try lessons, but it just never stuck with me. And so like music by and large for me was like I would love it, I'd sing it, and I'd go to some shows, and it would resonate with me, in the songs that I think back. I was big into Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah,
in middle school,
and
hip hop, and Tupac, and Notorious B.I.G., Wu-Tang, and then Rage Against the Machine, and then I got into Korn for a while, and started seeking out all these other different songs, and then Sublime, it blasted me, and I would just always love it, man, and it would go to the songs, and it would make me feel better about what was going on. Or some songs like this band, Spanish band, Jarabe de Palo, Jarabe de Palo, and they have this song called Bonito, and it's just like a freaking happiness anthem. And the video is so cool, and once I heard that album, it was just like, oh yeah, everything is nice.
It was a turning point of sorts.
Yeah. Totally. But then then I started playing music. I got it. Well, I played percussion growing up in middle school in band. My brother was a drummer and also explored some bass and played with bands, and so that was a big influence early on. Then I just started playing guitar when I was a senior in high school, trying to play the songs that I loved, and that's what really when I really started to.
What year would that have been around?
2000,
2000 probably, yeah. Okay, yeah.
2000 when I started playing the guitar.
What percussion instruments did you play?
Mostly the drums. When I was in band, I would do like the marimba, snare drum, concert snare, bass, auxiliary stuff. I never got to play the drums while I was in band because there was always people who were, way better and more specialized, so I never got the opportunity. But my brother had a drum set, so I would play at home. And then once I got out of band, I started playing with a friend who was writing music, who we then went on to play with some other friends of ours. We called ourselves Winter Sessions. And which is kind of how I got into playing music around the Michigan scene.
Okay.
You know, flash forward a few years out of high school, but yeah, music at the beginning was just always something that made me feel really good. You know, it brought up those memories and the feelings, and then I started playing, and I found such joy just collaborating. You know, and being intimate with the instrument itself. You know, finding you know ways to express feelings and emote energy from sound waves.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. When did you start playing? What was the first musical project you had that has definitely connected and been something of a line towards what you're doing now?
I would say Winter Sessions.
Was it? Okay?
For sure, yeah, because it was me, my buddy Ben Fiddler, Russ Brakefield, Matt Sucott, Jake Duvernay, buddy Jeff Hollingsworth, who's downstairs. We were like best friends, but we were like discovering each other's friendship and brotherhood, you know, like creating all of this out of the sake of music and the aesthetic, you know, like was such a high, it was placed at such a high value. We weren't looking to sell anything, you know, whether it was because we were too insecure about our music in the first place, or just wanted to kind of have this nihilist attitude toward it, you know. We just wanted to get together and record music for the sake of getting together and recording music. Oftentimes not having rehearsed it, played it. Some of it was written on the spot. You know, we compiled like 90 plus songs. You know? Those dudes are freaking super prolific songwriters too. Russ is now a teacher at, he's a professor at University of Michigan. Teaching poetry.
Really?
He's a poet himself. Ben is a poet. He's a farmer. He's a beekeeper now. You know, works the land. Matt is teaching middle school English out in Colorado. And, you know, I wasn't writing songs back then. Now I do, but back then, you know, I was just, you know, adding tasty riffs to their sweet songs they were writing. But it's cool because now I'm playing with the Mark Lavengood Bluegrass Bonanza and Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies, and both of those bands are playing old Winter Session songs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
You're keeping some there. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get you playing a song. If you wanna play something that is Winter Sessions, since we brought that up that you still play, we could do that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, cool. So this one is called Vulpes Vulpes, which is the genus species for wolf. Written by Russ Brakefield, and I'm playing it solo, but it's going to be on the upcoming Mark Lavengood Bluegrass Bonanza.
Okay.
Houses and old horses are pretty.
Nice. I love Way Up on the Neck. It was almost like a Jimmy Page sounding type, when he got really melodic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
beautiful.
Hey,
I've seen you play in concert before, and I knew you were a great player. I've not seen it this up close. So,
Thanks,
geez,
brother.
yeah.
Shucks.
All right, now do a Mark Lavengood tune.
All right, cool. So this is a song I wrote while traveling 9 hours to a gig, traveling across Ireland from the north part to the south. We were northeast to the most southwestern part to play a gig that night. It's called In Transit. It's going to be featured on the upcoming Lindsay Lou and the Flatbelly.
Oh, excellent.
Too, which is going to be sweet.
In Transit, 9-hour trip, Ireland.
Yeah,
Okay.
there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a shoddy body and the years of abuse have caught up to you. In every big old city, yeah, the neons are pretty with their indigo blues. But oh, can't you see that's such velocity? It's up to you, up to you. I said it's up to you. Oh, when you're feeling mighty weak, or you can't speak on the wrong side of the road, you're wrong to the ground, pound by pound, down the line up below. But oh, can't you see that's such velocity? It's up to you, up to you. I said it's up to you. Oh, when you're pumping out smoke and you're busted and broke, but it stops on cue. As long as I can go far away from me. But we all understand about the laws of the land. Don't you think it's time to reconsider? Come on, just freak out. Only last day on the mausoleum, looking in the rear view. Thinking about time, thinking about your life, it's catching up to you. Said thinking about time, thinking about your life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, in every big old city, yeah, the neons are pretty. I said, yeah, yeah, yeah. Puffing out smoke and just bust a flow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you're feeling mighty weak, or you can't speak on your last leg, 'cause your mind's a list where you're thinking about time, thinking about your life. Yeah, it's catching up to you. I said it's up to you. I said. Get a little rock and roll up in
Hey,
his
that's
mind,
right.
you know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, that's it. You wrote that one, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love that song. I wish I played it more.
Yeah.
For sure. Thanks for giving me an opportunity.
No problem. How was Ireland?
Oh, so much fun.
Okay.
So beautiful, man. Yeah, for sure. They, the whole culture in Ireland and Scotland and
Yeah.
England and in Germany, where we've traveled with Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies, have just been, they really appreciate the music. You know? And I feel like their general societal culture, values it more too. People go out to more shows.
Right.
People will, understand the relationship buskers share with community space.
Right. It's part and parcel to it. It's not just something that they do here and there.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a rich part of their culture.
Yeah.
What's an Irish audience like, or at least the ones that you played for?
Super attentive, super
Really?
lively.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. We played actually that gig that we went to. Well, I kind of wrote it from the perspective of like a person who's lived just a hard life,
Yeah.
you know, juxtapose that to a vehicle, you know, that let's say we may have traveled in, you know, while we were over there, you know, that was just like busted, you know, in the ground, you know, trying to like, you know, juxtapose both of those lifespans, you know, but the gig that we made it to that day, it was at it was at an art studio. I forget exactly where it was and what the place was called, but it was just so beautiful, on the coast. So it was a coast town, and you know, in between the sets, they were just, you know, super, super talkative and interactive.
Yeah.
You know, there was libations flowing too.
Oh,
so
I'm sure. Yeah.
Ease
Yeah, that's part of the culture too.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Did you busk down there too?
Not so much. All those gigs that we did were all gigs, not busking.
All right.
We'd be into it, but you got to do it right. You got to kind of have a small PA system.
Yeah.
You know, with your own generator, you know, to give power to, or else you just won't reach as many people unless your style of music is just loud and raucous. Which, you know, is hard to maintain on a, you know, anatomical level.
Right, yeah.
Especially on the vocal cords. But some folks freaking do it and they slay it. But I've chatted with some friends of ours who live over there, and they busk a lot, and they were saying, yeah, we take our small PA,
yeah,
and just rock the tunes, you know, get tips and sell merch, and you know, they make a killing. You know, they don't need to have as many gigs because they'll go busk any day of the week.
And it's part of well, there's a little bit of an improvement in busking it state-wise. It probably depends on the area. I know some people still think it's like begging, you know, but I know in Europe, you know, you go out on a night on the town, you go see street performers, you know, who are very good. And, what other parts of that area, not just Ireland, but the surrounding, our overseas neighbors, have you played and enjoyed?
We did Ireland, Northern Ireland, England, Wales, Scotland. We played the Shetland Islands, which is like 14 hours by ferry north of the tip of continental Scotland.
Okay,
But yeah, that was beautiful. The Shetland Folk Fest, that's a really great one. We went and did the Bluegrass Jamboree with this promoter named Reiner Zellner, who hosts the Bluegrass Jamboree, and also an Irish festival throughout Germany. And so we've done those, and I think that's it for the gigs for now. But that's, you know, we love traveling for work. You know, and it gives you great opportunity to...
Playing just one good part of it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying to get all the different projects you have. What are the major projects you do now that are a part of your weekly, or even if we're going to measure it, monthly schedule?
Yeah, the projects that I am rocking primarily are Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies, and that's, you know, historically been what has kept me most busy over the last 6 years since I've been a full-time artist. But over those years, I've also been putting out and releasing music under my own name, and I put a band behind that back in 2014. And we've just been calling ourselves the Mark Lavengood Bluegrass Bonanza. Got some super talented pickers. A couple of the dudes in the band are ex-Flatbellies, who had to leave the band, or chose to leave the band to you know, just have family lives and whatnot. But now it's great because we get to continue on right where we left off. This project, and got a John Prine cover band that I helped put together with Seth Bernard, Michael Beauchamp, Dan Ricketts, Max Lockwood, and myself. We call ourselves Prime Time. And so we're doing a little tour.
You get plenty of people. He's had a real reserve. I mean, he's always had a following, but man,
dude, he's he's a classic American songwriter. You know, and one of the best, most undoubtedly.
Yeah, I guess there's been like pretty highbrow poets who have seen him for consultation and everything to see how he does it. You know, I mean, he's
amazing.
Yeah. So you said you've been doing this for full time 6 years?
It's been about 6 years, full time.
Nice. That I feel like every musician I talk to, it's amazing how many people you'd think are able to do it full time. You know, they have 50,000 likes on their Facebook and still have to work a second job, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But I mean, since you can focus all your energy and time on a specific trade, what's a typical day like? As much as you can narrow it down, what's a typical day? I mean, we're in an office. We have goals in front of me.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, there seems to be order to the life of Mark.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like not to put all my eggs in one basket, so to say, but I also have a lot of different passions and desires that that I want to do. You know, I don't believe in, you know, giving all your time to, you know, a company that's gonna, you know, then pay you a finite amount of money. Maybe it's decent, maybe it's better, maybe it's not the greatest, but they take all that time, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
You know, in this day and age, time is currency, you know, and you know, I've built my life up from a foundational level of just, you know, doing the things that I want to be doing.
Yeah.
And figuring that out, and then, you know, I need to make money because that's the way, you know, society's working right now, and I haven't, you know, created the systems to not depend on, you know, going to the grocery store, you know, to get your groceries, but, you know, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
But, you know, so like, I'm home. When I'm home, I'm hustling around the house, doing a variety of things. I try to play music every day, at least for 30 to an hour, you know, 30 minutes to an hour.
Like just regular practice and such?
Yeah, I mean, it's real loose. I just pick up a guitar and play, or I'll pick up the dobro or rock the bass, you know. I don't, like, count the hours. I just always make sure to take intermittent breaks to go play, you know. But I am trying to work on dedicating more practice time. A lot of artists focus specifically on the art, you know, and that's freaking admirable. You know, that's inspiring to me. You know, and you don't see a lot of artists who are doing the business side, you know, of things. Just because there's so much of it. You know, we didn't go to freaking, you know, start playing music because we want to be business people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And a lot of people have an aversion to it. A lot of people don't want to take the time to do the work that is necessary to get your stuff out there. But
or some have brains that just do not function that way.
You know, and that's all legit, you know.
It is,
but you know, for me, I'm trying to, you know, I'm a band leader. I'm in a band that's touring nationally and internationally, so I've got just a lot of obligations that I've signed up for. That, you know, so like I'll do, you know, 3 to 5 hours of computer work, which could be booking to advancing to working on my website to promotions and marketing through the social medias and just keeping up, you know, freaking, you know, keep my email inbox, you know, below 30, you know, is like a goal that I always work for.
Right.
But you know, also you gotta take the time to rehearse, to practice, you know, intentionally, not just, you know, loosely and, you know, whimsically, which is great, but, you know, at least that's something that I really want to start implementing in my life. So right now I'm trying to figure out time management. You know, how do I take all the things that I want to do, you know, because you see, you're looking at the board, you know, there's like, I mean, this board right here with, you know, let's just say 50 things I've written down, you know, various things, you know, that would take me like a week's worth of, you know, 40 hours just working on that right there, you know, but it would have such a, you know, such a big effect, you know, trickling into, you know, getting, you know, people discovering my music, you know, and people, you know, putting the time into it, which is something that, you know, would be cool.
The dividends would be potentially pretty helpful to you.
Yeah, totally. And even, you know, money aside, just like having, you know, having the music resonate with people.
Yeah.
And have them take it in and for whatever it is they're seeking, you know, to give that to them, you know, is absolutely, you know, at the foundation of you know, my intention with creating music.
Right.
And, you know, doing everything that I'm doing, you know.
Right.
But yeah, the work never ends.
It never ends, yeah.
Well, sure.
That's a really good segue, and a lot of our listeners actually are interested in the craft of songwriting, so it may sound boring to you, but I assure you our listeners would find your answers coming up interesting. But you've gone over a bit about how you build a framework around you that helps you to do this and how you organize as it hurts to even say as a business, but you know what I mean, as a organized entity that you can sustain. What about the creative part? Do you write better at certain times of the day? Is it all over the place? Do you sit down and say, I'm going to write 2 songs about cereal, and I mean, what's your creative approach?
My creative approach, I kind of have, I want to write songs right now, especially. I want to write songs that, people relate with. I've got ideas for topical songs that I want to write as well. But I will often, because moments of creativity can be fleeting. A melody could pop into your mind. Boo-doo-doo-doo, boo-doo.
Yeah.
And then, oh shit, if I don't record this, I'll forget it.
Yeah.
So I use my phone all the time. I'm leaving voice memos.
Right.
I'll just free flow sometime. Lyrics. I mentioned I liked hip hop. I still love hip hop.
Yeah.
I don't listen to it as much as I'd like to, but I also want to make some hip hop songs.
Yeah.
So I'll just record ideas, write down lyrics as they come. Sometimes I'll just sit down and it just all pours.
It pours,
and I'll write a whole song in a setting. That song that I played in transit, I wrote it on the drive.
On the drive, right.
On that 9-hour drive.
All right, I have just a couple more questions for you. The first one is, who christened you Huggy?
Oh, wow. Great question. So it all ties in with my musical growth, and also goes back to the Winter Sessions days. When I graduated from Elma College, I studied Spanish and international business, and music was just a hobby. And at the tail end of my college years, Winter Sessions started playing our first gigs, coffee house shows for tips,
Right.
But that's also when I started drinking craft beer.
Right.
And so I came home. I was going to be living in Grand Rapids at my pop's house, and was trying to find a part-time job. I didn't want to get like a business career sort of job, because I didn't want to give all that time.
Yeah.
I wanted to travel. I wanted to have, the freedom to, be able to go off for a weekend or even during the week or whenever my schedule allowed. But I knew that I had to pay my bills, so part-time work was like perfect. And I went down to Founders Brewing Company.
Right, I thought you may have worked there.
Yeah, so I was working there at the old Brassworks building right before they moved. Is right when I went in. So it was wild times.
Yeah.
So cool, for sure. Back then the deli was only manned by one person at a time.
Really?
Two people was like pretty standard, but when it got slow, it was just one person job.
I remember going there in college when I had no money, and they had free hot dogs sometime. So that would be my supper.
Oh, nice. Yeah, for sure.
It feels like a different universe when it was down there.
I know, totally, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my first open mics I went to, the shows. Because I was working there, I kind of had my in with getting Winter Sessions in there. So,
right, yeah.
And that's how it all kind of tied back together. So I went in for an interview, and the kitchen manager, Justin Galinsky, we were just, having all sorts of cool conversations, and I just thought it was super rad that he was in a band and, was rocking the kitchen manager at Founders, he's like the coolest. And he bought me a beer, a Red's Rye, and so, at the end of the interview, he's like, well, all right, Mark, this has been great. And he went in for a handshake, and I went in for a big old bear grab.
Yeah.
Like, get that hand out of here.
Yeah.
And so, he hired me, shortly after that, and he would just introduce me to people, he said, hey Jason, this is Mark. We call him Huggy Bear. He just called me Huggy Bear, and it stuck. And it was through Founders that I would get into the music community, the greater music community as well. When bands were playing there, I would just make sure that they were set up right, and had coffee if they needed coffee, and got them a sandwich. So it was people through the music scene started calling me Huggy as well as the Founders community. And then, it's kind of just like omnipresent everywhere. A lot of people don't know my real name is Mark.
Yeah.
They always call me Huggy Bear, which is cool because I don't know so many people's names that I would like to. That whole memory thing, I'm still working on.
That's another art in itself. Remembering names.
Yeah.
Noki says you ever been asked that before by a interviewer.
The Huggy Bear question?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yes.
I think might be the first
all
one.
right.
Yeah,
it all happens here, folks. Well, great. Well, my last question for you is, you talked a little bit about your projects upcoming. What are a few things you really want our listeners to know about?
Mentioned I play with Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies. You can check out the website at lindsayloumusic.com. We've got we're giving away some free music if you join our email list, and we're playing all over the place. We're actually heading back to the UK in January.
Oh,
we're going to be
okay.
playing Celtic Connections, which is pretty big for us.
Yeah.
And then I play with the Mark Lavengood Bluegrass Bonanza, and you can see all of our work that we're doing at marklavengood.com. That's Lavengood like lavender, but good.
Yeah.
And both projects are working on a new album.
Okay.
Lindsay Lou and the Flatbellies will be recording in November at the Great Northern Sound Studio, which is run by Sam Kassir, who's going to produce it for us too.
Okay, yeah.
He's produced Lake Street Dive album, Joy Kills Sorrow, Josh Ritter albums.
Oh wow!
And
Yeah.
is pretty heavy in the scene that we're kind of around. And so that's gonna be sweet. And then the Mark Lavengood Bluegrass Bonanza has a bunch of tracks pretty much in the bag,
Right.
and are gonna be doing a pre-release January for a hard release in February.
Okay.
So,
Excellent.
Yeah, tons of good new fresh music.
Yeah.
for
Excellent.
sure.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Justin,
Are you able to
thanks,
do one more song?
Yeah, I'll play one
Okay.
more.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'll keep that in there.
Yeah, keep that one in, yeah, for sure. This is called We've Come Along. It's going to be the title track for the Mark Lavengood Bluegrass album. It's about transitioning through relationships and transcendence of sorts. Driving through the night, sun's sinking slowly. Ain't got no baby by my side, that don't keep me lonely. Well, the memories they fill space eternally, and the miles that the wheel they keep on rolling. Come a long way now, and we learn somehow to get by. Yeah, alright. So you go your way, babe. Me, I want mine. Don't matter how hard it is, or how hard we try. Well, time's fleeting swiftly now. What else shall we do? Find the source that fuels our soul. Learn to live anew. We've come a long way now, and we learn somehow to get by. Yeah, alright. stars still shine down upon us wherever we may roam. So let's cast out our nets and open every door. Let's let love guide us, let it be